Welcome back to the Charlotte 49ers Dynasty. We're coming off a huge win to end Season 2 against the number 4th at the time ranked Ohio State Buckeyes in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. It was a triple overtime thriller where we hit Nolan Gruhl in the end zone to get the 2-point conversion and win the game 42-40. We end Season 2 ranked 13 and will be advancing to the offseason, moving on to the players leaving, the recruiting, the new coaches if we have any, so on and so forth. So we'll keep you updated as we advance the week. Here you can see the massive improvement Shane Falco has brought to the Charlotte 49ers, bringing his first season 6-6 record to a 12-2 record where he was able to win the American Championship and also the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, as we mentioned at the beginning. It does look as though we are bringing back defensive coordinator Greg Brown for a third year. However, it does say his security is low, and that is based on his points per game, both at the NCAA level and at the American Conference level. He did give up quite a few points, however, not enough points to lose us any more than 2 games. And those 2 games were heartbreakers at the very, very end, so I don't think we should put that on him. However, towards the end of the season, he did ramp it up with some smarter zone calls when we were bringing all that pressure. So I'm really thinking this year we are definitely going to go more zone, as we will have much younger defensive backs with a little bit of experience, of course, as this was some of their freshman years. Our linebacker situation is one that will need to be monitored. So maybe all that pressure might end up being a bad thing at some point in time. However, you do see the offensive coordinator has changed as Shannon Dawson has taken a new job. We'll check on that here in a second. Phil Longo is our new offensive coordinator, so we will have a new offensive system put in place for the 3rd year in a row. Hopefully it won't be too crazy, as we will be bringing in a brand new quarterback. However, some of the receivers, tight ends, linemen, and running backs will be the same. Shannon Dawson has taken the head coaching job at Akron University. Akron is a school in Ohio, so it looks like we will either be traveling to Ohio or having the Ohio school travel to North Carolina next year. We may also open up recruiting to the state of Ohio, as that could inadvertently help us. Those recruits he's going to be talking to and trying to get to Akron know he came from University of Charlotte. And then if we also go talking to them, they may say, hey, that's already an established program, or at least they're on the up and coming. Let's go talk to them before we talk to this guy. And now the saddest part of any season, we have to get to the players leaving. This year it won't be as bad. However, we do have a few guys who made big impacts for us in the first year and only improved for the second year. James Ross took over the helm of the Charlotte 49ers in his senior year, our second year here at the university. I'm glad that he had more speed than Chris Reynolds. However, there were times where he could not hit the broadside of a barn, and if he fell out of a boat, he couldn't hit water with that ball. So let's hope that the backups can see what he did or did not do to make him successful, and only build upon what Chris Reynolds did and also what James Foster did. He was a good leader. He helped us obviously win some big games, and he will be missed. Quentin Patton made some big plays for us down the stretch. He was a 5th-year senior, so he didn't do a whole lot of crazy stuff, as we only had him for 2 years. However, a player that really did big things for us was Nolan Gruhl. Gruhl came up with huge catches throughout his 2 years here. However, the biggest catch was in the end zone against the Ohio State University to convert a 2-point conversion to allow us to win the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Nolan Gruhl, we appreciate your time here, and you, sir, are a legend. Jackson Hughes is one of the 2 offensive linemen and 2 tackles that we will be losing this year, as the other one is Mike Russo. They contributed greatly to establishing the run game and also protecting the quarterbacks over their 2 years that we had them here. The only defensive lineman we're losing is Michael Kelly. He did come in and play some big downs for us. He did also have a sack. However, he was buried on the depth chart, so he didn't get a whole lot of playing time. We are going to be losing 3 linebackers, 2 middle, 1 on the outside. The first one we're going to talk about is Derek Boykins. He was a safety, converted to middle linebacker, and made some big plays for us. He was able to find the guys in the backfield, make tackles for loss. He also had pretty good coverage. I am happy we were able to move him and make sure he got some playing time. Stone Handy was really the leader of this defense. I'm going to miss having his presence at the middle linebacker position. He did lead the team and the nation in tackles both years we were able to have him here on this defense. Prince Bema was an outside edge rusher that was able to drop back as well. I'm going to miss his speed, but I'm going to miss the fact that he could be a 3-point linebacker and get past that tackle with his block shedding and get to the quarterback. The first of 3 defensive backs we're losing, Jordan Anderson. He played a little bit, but was buried on the depth chart. Next player we're going to talk about is our strong safety, Bryson Whitehead. I dogged on him throughout the year. However, when we needed him in the championship game, we did not have him. We had to go to our backup, who was slower, who did not have as great play recognition, but did come up with a few big stops. Bryson Whitehead, hopefully you taught our backups well. One of the main guys I'm going to miss in the defensive backfield is Wayne Jones. He seemed like he was everywhere. He could play up in the box and make tackles for loss. He could play back and defend the pass, but more importantly, he could make tackles. We are only losing 12, so I do foresee cuts being a big part of this offseason. No surprise, we had no one drafted. We do have one transfer request from Southern Mississippi. Let's go ahead and take a look at him. His stats tell us he is not going to be a good fit for our defense, so we're going to pass. This recruiting process is going to be pretty simple. We need players from North Carolina to make sure that North Carolina stays a pipeline state. I know that sounds silly, but we do have a lot of people already from Georgia and South Carolina, few from Florida, so North Carolina has to remain a pipeline state because we are actually in the state of North Carolina. Duh. So some of these players we don't necessarily need, but we're absolutely going to put some points on them just to say, hey, we're trying, you know? Andrew Holland is an example. We don't need a punter, we don't need a kicker, but he's from North Carolina. And the results are in. We did get Tyler Henderson, who's from North Carolina. We did get Scott Lopez, who's from North Carolina. And we did get Adam Moore, who's not from North Carolina. We were able to achieve the 49th best class in the nation. We did have 15 3-stars and 10 2-stars. I'm excited about this class because we do have some wide receivers who should be able to take over for Nolan Gruhl and Quentin Patton. We also do have some pretty amazing linebackers coming in who have speed, agility, and pursuit, getting to that ball as quickly as possible and making sure they wrap up and tackle. This is going to be a group that hopefully takes over and carries on the tradition that Stone Handy made, making big tackles in the backfield. We also brought in some pretty talented defensive linemen who are going to have to work to see the field. However, if they make plays for us, we're going to be able to utilize their strength, speed, blocking, and pursuit, getting from point A to point B the quickest way possible. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm really excited about a running back we brought in with 90+ speed. That's not something we've had in our 2 years here, so hopefully he'll be able to get it on the outside, hit the corner, and score some touchdowns. We also brought in a few offensive linemen who are going to be able to take advantage of this very shallow group that we have. They're going to be able to step up and immediately help this run game and our pass game, whichever one the new offensive coordinators bringing in. We also brought in a few quarterbacks who I'm hoping will challenge for the starting position. I am planning on redshirting a few guys, but if they're going to challenge and make plays in practice to get on the field, I'm not going to stop them. I'm going to give the best players the best opportunities to put us in the best position to win. We also brought in another kicker. And once we finish with position changes, we're going to move to off-season workouts and see how they've improved throughout the year. We're going to make our way through our team just very quickly, not naming the players, but giving you an idea of how many we have at each position. So here you see the quarterbacks, and we do have a very full room of running backs. There will be several red shirts in this room. Pretty short at fullback, but we don't need a whole lot of those. Another very busy and packed room for wide receivers. However, only 3 of them have catching 70 or above. I did move Jason Dorsey, the highly touted tight end from last year, into the wide receiver position. He slots in at our 4th best wide receiver with a catching rate of 76. Another very crowded tight end room with a few seniors, so there will be some red shirts for the underclassmen to ensure that we have a longer duration of quality tight ends. One thing I'm very proud of is we do have pretty standard and consistent numbers across the offensive line, ranging from seniors to freshmen. We will have protection for whatever quarterback or whatever running back that we have lined up in our backfield for the years to come. Our defensive line looks pretty great. This new incoming freshman is better than DJ Brown from last year, who led the nation in sacks. He will obviously be redshirted, but I'm excited to get Castillo on the field. The best part about our defensive line is that we do have quality from starters to backups, and we have so much depth at defensive tackle. This right here shows you that the 4 defensive tackles who are not seniors will be able to look up to the seniors as they finish out their last year here at the university and also take their place next year. Going into last season, we were very short at linebacker. However, I believe we have shored that up in this last recruiting class. We did bring in several inside and outside linebackers, including Tyler Henderson, who is considered our top middle linebacker. He will be redshirted because I do want to start some of the other guys who are going to have a little more experience. The outside linebackers will have a lot of speed this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing more so their agility agility, acceleration, and zone and man coverages, as we did give up quite a bit to tight ends and running backs last year out of the backfield. Our quarterback room is very busy, but also very young, as we only have 2 seniors. They're also very inexperienced, as you will see the top 3 have 70s and that 199, and the rest are all in the 50s and as low as 49. I'm excited to see the battles play out for the safety positions. I have a few guys in mind that I would like to start based on what I saw during their recruiting processes, but there's always the opportunity to take the spot away, especially in practice, and make a name for yourself. You'll see we have several punters and kickers. The reason we have all these is because they're all from North Carolina, and that is an easy way to improve our pipeline. And now that we have completed the position changes, we're going to be looking at training results and see what improvements our guys made. Right off the bat, you see lots of 5s and 6s. That's exactly what you want to see. You also see Shadrick Bird getting another boost in speed, so he is officially at 85 for his senior year. Let's hope that that's enough for him to maybe hit the corner and score a few more touchdowns. Glad to see all individuals in the quarterback room are gaining in power and accuracy, and I also like to see all of our running backs improving in speed and strength, as hopefully they'll be able to break some tackles. Our fullbacks are focusing on run blocking, pass blocking, and impact blocking, and it looks like they have been putting in some work. This screen may be ugly to some, however, when I see Jason Dorsey having 82 catching, that makes me want to look back and see another Taylor Thompson, because he is a big, fast, strong tight end convert who has Jimmy Graham type agility. This is going to be a good year, especially if we can get the ball in Jason Dorsey's hands. Speaking of tight ends, all of them gained a little bit of speed and are now able to pass, run, and impact block even better. Wow, look at Henry down at the bottom with 83 impact block. You will see that that's actually more than all of my left tackles, as well as all of my centers, including my senior Johnny King, tied with or better than my right guards, and higher than both right tackles. That means that my 4th string tight end has better impact blocking than 3/4 of my linemen. Imagine how good DJ Brown would be if his awareness was up, as he is a converted linebacker. Tyson Clausen gaining a little bit of speed, acceleration, and agility. Jalar Holly creeping up 1 away from 70 speed, with Miguel Jackson beating him there. This is going to be a fast interior group. All my linebackers seem to grow in speed, agility, and acceleration, but more importantly, awareness. Them knowing what's going on the field is going to be the most important, as that means they're going to recognize the play and get to the ball as soon as possible. This is big for us. Ursery is leaps and bounds better than the rest of my cornerbacks. Looking at awareness, I am glad to see that there are 2 safeties that have 90 plus awareness. Bailey Rice now has 99 kick power. I hope to hit at least a 60-yard field goal this year with him. Aiden Laros also has 90 plus kick power. He might be able to move on over next year. And this is the part that's the hardest, because now we have to find 13 players to cut from this team we just talked about. That was really tough, because we did have to look. New offensive coordinator Phil Longo is at level 24, so we were almost able to max out his attributes. And as teased in the last episode, we are deciding to move conferences from the American to the ACC. This move is going to allow us to move to a bigger conference, but also play more North Carolina schools and make sure that we dominate and take over the state. This is also going to help with recruiting, as I am excited to be able to look at more 3-stars and hopefully not have any more people go ahead and X us off just because we're not in a big conference. Despite the move to the ACC, there are still some guys who have already made waves and are being nominated for first team and or second team, including running back Siobhan McCarron, defensive end DJ Brown, and defensive tackle Jalar Holly, along with kicker Bailey Rice. And the second team includes seniors Jake Clemens at tight end and Shedrick Ursery at cornerback. As far as the all NCAA team, Siobhan McCarron is primed for his senior year to take over and tell the nation that he is the man. However, it is our defense that is again making a name for themselves, with DJ Brown, Jalar Holly, and Shedrick Ursery being named second team all NCAA, along with our kicker Bailey Rice, who was able to hit a 59-yard field goal last year. Let's see if we can get over 60 this year. You're seeing that correctly. Siobhan McCarron is a Heisman hopeful. I do think that he is going to fade, unfortunately, but the fact that he is up here, he's receiving that recognition, and people are knowing this name all around the country, that is the most important thing for us. Get our name on the board, make sure people are hearing about us, and then continue to do what we do on the field. Preseason polls have us listed as the 36th best team, so with a few wins, we can jump up in the top 25 pretty quickly this year. We do have 80 pluses across the board, and we are up to a 3-star prestige school. This is exciting because as we have moved up to the ACC, we're going to be facing tougher competition, and we're going to look to get our name on the board across the nation even more, as we do have more televised games, and we're going to be able to recruit to a larger market. Looking at the ACC Atlantic Division, we are projected to finish 4th. That's not very surprising because they do have some pretty tough teams over there, including Florida State. I do want to make sure that we're going to come out strong. We're going to compete, and we're not going to be embarrassed as another North Carolina team. As you can see, there are several: Wake Forest, NC State. There's a South Carolina team there in Clemson. So we have to make sure we represent for the Carolinas themselves. But again, for a big dog to allow us to come up to their division, a Power 5 conference, that's exciting. So let's not embarrass ourselves. Due to our move to the ACC, we were unable to play the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill outside of conference play. So we went to the next best team and went to the University of South Carolina. So we will be playing the Gamecocks and then another familiar foe in the Appalachian State Mountaineers. I also did remember to put Akron on our schedule so we could go play our former coach and hopefully put a whooping on him. The ACC does offer multiple North and South Carolina schools, as we do have Clemson representing South Carolina and NC State and Wake Forest representing North Carolina. We have played all of these teams except for Clemson and South Carolina at least once in this 2-year span, so we do have an idea of what they are going to throw at us, but now it's going to count a little more as we are part of the ACC. With a B strength of schedule, we are going to have to really work hard to ensure that we compete, put up good numbers, and hopefully go to Week 15's conference championship game. A few things to note for the depth chart. We will be starting Xavier Williams at quarterback for the time being. He does have 87 throw power and only 77 throw accuracy, whereas Jared Miller does have 81 throw accuracy and throw power, so he might be a little more spot on when it comes to the passing game. We'll be starting McCarron again over Bird with Micah Bell to spell them two, and Will Culver in at the 4th option for running back. However, Culver put on a little bit of weight and should be doing an even better job of opening those holes for us this year. Despite the higher catch rating, I would like to keep Gary Singletary at the slot receiver, as I do like what he can do in that position. I've also put freshman converted tight end Jason Dorsey at the 4th wide receiver spot. I like his size, I like his sneaky speed, and I really think with his high catching ability, he'll be able to be Taylor Thompson-esque. I feel pretty good about my line this year. They're ranging from 79 to 89, with a majority being in the 80s. I do feel as though they're going to be able to open holes and allow Siobhan McCarron to break another school record, his own school record, for a 2nd year in a row. All of those who made up that menacing defensive line last year, including DJ Brown, Tyson Clausen, Miguel Jackson, and Jalar Hawley, are returning. I will also have some backups in Parrish Brown and Chase Maynard who will spell them and get after that quarterback. Unlike the defensive line, the linebackers will have 2 new guys in those positions. Cam Burden is returning. However, Sylvester Parrish and Reed Williford will be going into their new spots and hopefully holding down the fort to make Stone Handy and Prince Bama proud. All of the cornerbacks will look the same, so hopefully they will be better at pass defense this year. However, we will have a new duo playing safety, Shaheem Scotland and Comanche Francisco. Going down these prospects slowly but surely, we will be uncovering the gems. We'll be figuring out who wants to be part of Niner Nation next year. We'll figure out who is going to play a pivotal part in our growth, development, and rise to the top of the ACC in the coming years from this crop of new recruits. This is where we're going to leave off for this episode. We are looking forward to heading into year 3, as we will be traveling to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks, an SEC team. So this will be another huge step and a huge test for us. We have defeated the American. We have defeated ACC. We have defeated Big Ten. Now let's look to take down the SEC. We look forward to seeing you at the game next week. Go Niners!